Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 139 of the On Air Advocate. We're at the On Air Advocate. We look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tammy, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are joining all of us here this morning, or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think that any of the content that we are talking about today could be relevant for anyone within your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, as you guys know, we are in our Back to School and Transition series, and I am so excited to have some of these phenomenal programs that are going on across the United States right here for you all to learn about. The program that we're going to learn about today is the PASS program, which is out of Texas A&M University. And today I have with me Tracy Glass. She is the PASS program director. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tammy.
I have Ellie Hefner. She is a 2019 graduate.
Hi.
And I also have Shelbi Davenport. She is currently a student at Texas A&M. So excited to have it full circle here to learn all about the program. So actually, I think we're going to just start out right away with Tracy. Tracy, can you tell us just a little bit like when the program started, a little bit more about it?
Sure. The program started about 2011. We graduated our first cohort in 2012. We just brought in our 9th cohort, and we are super excited about this group, as we are all of our groups. PAS stands for the Post-Secondary Access and Training in Human Services, and it was created to give students a college option. We are a very affordable and effective program, and we're the perfect program for any student who is interested in working in human services. So we have 3 tracks. We have a child care track if people are interested in working with the little bitty ones in a daycare setting. We have a paraprofessional track if students are interested in working in the school district supporting students and teachers. And then we have what we call our direct support professional general track if students are interested in supporting the elderly, like in nursing home settings, hospice units, Alzheimer's units, places like that, then that may be of interest to them. So we have, 3 great tracks for students who really love to help people. And we have had quite a bit of response over the years from students who were excited to find out that they have an option to go to college, and they have an option to be able to live independently and, do what any other college student does. They have the same goals and the same desires, the same wants as anybody else, and now they have an avenue to be able to chase their dreams and make their dreams and their goals happen just like any other Aggie on this campus.
Right now, Tracy, you were saying that this is a 1-year program, like a 1-year certification program.
Right.
And with that, you were saying that the students, they do, for the most part, live on campus during that time, correct?
For the, what we do, when PAS was first created, we did not have the summer piece of the program. It was just the fall and spring, and students lived off campus. And so for what we found was that we were spending quite a bit of time with training students on time management and training students on how to navigate the bus system. So they created the summer piece of the program that we call Bridge to Career. And it's a 4-week program designed to help students to learn, those preliminary skills that they need to be successful in college. And so they'll take just a variety of courses in the summertime that are designed to help them be more successful. So in the summer, we house them, we feed them here on campus, and then in the fall and spring, they have to move to an off-campus dorm, wherever they choose to go. It could be their choice anywhere here in the community.
Right now, are those supported dorms, that have help within them if the students are where they're living independently?
Well, they're there with any other Aggie. They're integrated with, with other Aggies that are in other disciplines. they have whatever dorm they choose. The dorm staff is there to help them, but here in the program, we assign them what we call advisors. And the advisors usually follow them throughout the program. We have quite a bit of support in place in our program to help students. They would meet with their advisor a couple of times a week. We have instructional aides that sit in the classroom with them, and they know exactly what kind of homework they have, what's expected of them. And so they're there to assist them if they need extra support in class. And so the advisors can go to their dorms and help them with any situations that they, they need help with. And so our staff is absolutely wonderful and very supportive of our students. And our program is open to anybody, whether you have a disability or not. And but our program is designed to provide a lot of extra support for students who do struggle. And we'll find a way, whatever the struggle is, to help that student overcome that barrier, that hurdle, to help them become more successful.
And with that being said, is there any type of formal eligibility requirements at your developmental levels, all of those types of things that you have to be able to meet to be a part of the program?
We don't look at reading scores or writing scores. We don't look at IQ scores. If the student indicates that they have a heart for serving people, and that our program fits their employment and educational goals, then we accept them and we take them as they come to us. They've had from K through 12 to learn how to read and write. We're not going to spend time doing that. What we're going to spend time doing is teaching them assistive technology to be able to overcome those hurdles so that they can generalize those skills across environments, no matter where they go. So we don't look at any of that. The only requirements to apply for the program is that they must be 18, at least 18 by the time the program starts. They don't have to be 18 when they apply, but they need to be 18 by the time the program starts. They must have graduated from high school or have a GED. And they need to be their own guardian, only with regard to being able to sign their own paperwork without an additional signature from a guardian saying it's okay. And that's the reason for that, is because we're going to have them fill out a lot of employment applications and volunteer applications. They'll have to consent to background checks and that sort of thing. So they need to be able to independently sign their own paperwork. We're not concerned with financial guardianship. We're not concerned with medical guardianship, only guardianship with regard to being able to sign their own paperwork. And those are the only requirements that we have.
Okay. Now, I know another big question that we get a lot is there any types of grants or scholarships or supported funding into the program?
Right now, we are working on becoming a comprehensive training program. And once we do that, then that will open up federal funds. But right now, filling out FAFSA will not work for the program. Most of our students, probably about 97–98% of our students, are funded through the Texas Workforce Commission, or formerly DARS. And so DARS has been a wonderful partner of ours in helping our students to be able to come to our program and helping to make this possible for many, many students. For those for whom TWC does not help, we have private pay students. We set up like payment plans, private payment plans with families, and we try to work with them to help, make the program affordable for their student to come. We definitely don't want money to be a barrier to a student being able to come to our program if we feel like it's a good fit for them. We're also in the process of creating a donate button and having that put on our website. And once we do that, then we should be able to hopefully get some donations in where we can use those for student scholarships as well. But some of our students have also received outside scholarships, like from Ruby's Rainbows. Some of our students with Down syndrome were able to get a Ruby's Rainbows scholarship to attend. We had one charter school completely pay for the whole program for their student, and we've had some that have received scholarships from churches or from their family's place of employment. And so those types of scholarships we do accept. We can't accept tuition waivers, and federal funds at this time do not apply.
Okay. And do you find that there are quite a few students that come in from out of state, or do you find that most of them are in the Texas area?
The majority of our students are from Texas. We get students from all over Texas. We do accept students from out of state, but what we find is that families are reluctant to let their student go that far. We encourage families to let your student go that far. Because we find that when students are away from families, they don't have family right there for immediate support. And so it teaches them to start relying on other natural resources in their environment to get help. And one thing that I always say in my open houses, it's not very popular, but it's something that we all need to think about, is what's going to happen to them when something happens to you. Families don't really think about, they're not going to live forever. And so these are the tough conversations that I have to have with families sometimes to get them on board with letting their student go and letting their student experience something like this to move them closer to independence.
Right. And I know that the program that you're talking about, kind of like your workforce development that's in your area in Texas, right, that you say a lot of times picks up that funding. Like in the state of Wisconsin, we have, it's called the DVR, it's Department of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Oh, okay.
And so they pay outside of that. And what I have found is that if you can find good programs, a lot of times, now this isn't for certain, but if you go to your state and ask them, in your counties and whatnot, if it's a good fit that isn't offered in your state, a lot of times, funding sometimes can be transferred. Because the whole purpose of it is obviously for job development.
Right.
That's
yeah.
why organizations are there, and sometimes certain states don't have that to offer. So always something good to explore. So Tracy, I think I'm going to wrap back around to you, but I want to hear a little bit from Ellie. I want to hear about what you went into the program for. I would love to know what you explored, what you're doing now, and the experiences you've had.
So I always wanted to know what it was like to be independent and going to college, and so when I got accepted in the program, I was very excited and couldn't wait to be independent more and learn new skills that I haven't learned before, and it was a really great opportunity for me.
And what program did you go into? Because I know, right, there's the child care program, and then you said the more of the nursing home, like certain CNA program, and then there's also paraprofessional, right? The more the teaching.
Yes. I chose the paraprofessional track, and that's where I went into schools, and I got to help assist the teacher in any way she needed me, and I got to work with the kids and in the classroom, and if there were times where I was exposed to other children that go to the same school that I was working at, I always made sure to interact with them as well once I made sure my students' needs were met.
Okay, and so you've completed the program now.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you currently now working in that field?
I am going to be in substitute training in September, and I'm currently looking there.
Very nice, very nice. And to kind of hop back to Tracy for a minute, Tracy, is that something when young adults graduate, do you guys help them in any way or aid them in the pursuit then to actually land a position in whatever certification they got?
We do. At the end of the spring semester, right before graduation, we require them to fill out at least 3 employment applications, either back home or wherever they choose to live. Some choose to go back home, some choose to go elsewhere. We've had some students say, I don't really want to go back home. I want to stay here because they're familiar with our area. They've already worked in, the practicum placements here, and they've learned the bus system here. So they've built a life here for the past year. So we have had some students choose to stay here. Then we've had some students say, I don't want to go back home and I don't want to stay here. I want to go to San Antonio. It's like, okay, hey, it's totally up to you. You've got the skills now, go. And so we do require them to fill out the 3 applications at the end of the semester, at least 3. That way we can get the job process kick-started early. And our goal is for them to be employed or at least have a job offer or something lined up by the time they graduate. Sometimes it happens. We have several that graduate with jobs already lined up, but we have some that are still in the job search process after they graduate. We still support them long after they graduate. So if they ever need any help with that process at all, the application process, the interview process, the follow-up, we're still here for them, because our main goal is you're going to go to work, and we're going to help you do whatever we need to help you do to make sure that you do that. And so we do provide a lot of support for students with their job search. And I also know that TWC also helps as well. So they'll also help with the job search. But between our program and TWC, the student really, if they're out there looking and, putting out the applications and using the skills that we taught them, they should have no issue with becoming employed.
Okay, that sounds good. And Ellie, I wanted to wrap back to you. And then Shelbi, I'm going to get to you. You're coming up. But Ellie, I wanted to find out, what was your experience like living in the dorms? How was that?
That was really fun and challenging. And it was challenging by being away from my family for the first time and getting to know what it's like to live with someone that I don't know. And it was a really good experience because I got to know more people, and I got to know my classmates more, and we had a lot of fun on weekends because we would go to lunch together, or we'll go walk around campus, and it was really fun.
And so you probably built some really great friendships out of that, I'm thinking.
Yes, for sure.
All right, so Shelbi, I want to know, now you are currently a student, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm a senior. I ordered my ring today.
Nice. So Shelbi, can you tell us a little bit about your experience? What are you going to the PAS program for? What certification?
Yes, ma'am. So when I went through the PAS program, they only had the direct support professional. And so that's like working in nursing homes and day habs and group homes and stuff. So that's where I volunteered. But I would have loved to be a paraprofessional and do that track. I'm so jealous that amazing students get to experience that. But that's what I did when I was there.
Okay, so now are you currently are you currently still there?
No, I'm not. School is a full-time job for me right now.
Okay, so you're in the PAS program, correct?
No, I'm not in the PAS program. I'm going to school at A&M.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And so you're going for the nursing home track or direct support?
That's what I did in the PAS program, but now I'm going on a whole different track. But thanks to the PAS program, it made my mind up for me. So I'm actually going to get a leadership degree. And so with the PAS program, it taught me self-advocacy skills, how to talk in certain situations. And what I want to do is teach others with disabilities. So I think the PAS program really helped me.
Very nice. So you went through the PAS program, finished that program, and now you're in a regular program at Texas A&M.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. And you're a senior, so you're almost done.
I am. Next May, I graduate.
Next May. And so what is your thoughts for after you graduate? Have you started thinking about career-wise?
Not really. I mean, with this degree that I'm going for, it has lots of different jobs I can apply for.
Okay.
And I got my eye on event planning. And so I was in the ARC. I was a part of the ARC in College Station. and they have different activities for individuals with disabilities, and they have a Special Olympics. So there's a Down Syndrome Association in the Brazos Valley that puts these galas together. They have ice cream socials, different events. So I'm looking towards that.
To be in that event planning space.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very good. Can you share your experience? Now, this whole time, have you been living on in the dorms this whole time?
I have my own apartment. I live by myself. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now you have, when you did the PAS program, did you live on campus?
During the summer program, what Miss Glass was talking about, the Bridge to Career, we lived on campus. But after, once I got into the PAS program, I lived at Cambridge. It's another dormitory with like other college students, but it's really close to A&M, so that was helpful.
Okay, and how was your experience with that?
I enjoyed it because that inclusion, that's what I look forward to for coming to college, because I grew up in a small town of Milano with 400, and so I didn't really get to be included in much because there wasn't like social events and stuff. But when I lived at that dorm, I just felt at peace. I don't know. I loved it.
Ellie, it seems like you feel the same.
Yeah, for sure. I'm from Montgomery, and there's not like a lot of social events that you could go to. So when I went to A&M, there was a lot more inclusion and a lot more things that I could get involved in.
Well, I mean, I think that's a big piece of this as well, right? I mean, it's all those independent skills and living away and forming your own friendships and just being independent that way, along with earning the certifications, right?
Right.
And with this, knowing that you can build upon it. So even though you're getting this 1-year certification, you definitely can then go back and go into the 4-year program, or in the AGI program. Is that's going to be a 4-year program, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you guys also offer 2-year programs?
No, right now we're thinking about extending the PATHS program to 2 years because we're finding that Bridge to Career in 4 weeks, we have to throw a lot at students in 4 weeks to get them ready for the PATHS program. And some of the students really need a little more time than that. So we're looking at possibly extending the Bridge to Career program, and then making our program a 2-year program. Right now it's still a 1-year program.
Okay, so that's maybe something to come for like 2020 or 2021.
Right, yeah, that's something that we're in talks about right now, but we'll be working on for the future. Okay. We'll also probably be expanding to a couple of different tracks. Like Shelbi said, our original track was the Direct Support Professional General track, where we taught students to go into, healthcare environments and be able to support others. But later we added the paraprofessional track and then the child care track. And so now we're looking at adding possibly a couple of more tracks outside of human services. So we've got a lot of exciting ideas and things that we're batting around. The tracks that we're looking at possibly adding are geared more toward what A&M is known for. And those 2 tracks would be probably, we're looking at vet tech and horticulture. So we wanted something outside of human services so that students who, some students don't really like working with humans. And so for those students, we've had them tell us that, they get in the interview and they're like, we're really not sure about this because, we really, don't enjoy working with humans. We enjoy working with animals.
Right.
And so for our students for whom, human services is not their thing, we want an option for them. So we're constantly looking at being able to fill those gaps for the students that feel like they want to do something different. So that we've got a lot of things in the works that we're talking about right now as far as growth for the program that we're super excited about.
Yes, and that is, and you know what? That's so interesting because even my own children, I have 4 kids, which are now adults, but all of them have said 2 of them, they love humans and the other 2 love pets more than humans. So it's great to have that diversity. And there is so much, though, of more of that compassion around the pets as well, just the same as it is, with humans, and especially with pet therapy and all of that. There's so much to be taught in that area. So if our audience is listening today, people from out of state or in the state of Texas that are listening, and they're like, you know what, I think this would be a good fit for me, or I think this would be a good fit for my young adult. Tracy, what would you say would be those first steps that they would take to I guess, kind of engage, maybe get all their questions answered and learn a little bit more?
The first step I would say would be to talk with your student. So many times the students are left out of these conversations. Families are busy with transition planning. The schools are busy with transition planning. They come at the student and they say, hey, we know this great program. We think you ought to go. But nobody really asks the student. And so we want to make sure that it's the student's idea. What we find is that if it's not the student's idea, they're not going to be successful. And so we had a student come to me, and he said, I'm done. I was like, what do you mean you're done? And he said, well, I'm through. I'm, going to turn in my stuff. And I was like, well, I thought this was what you wanted to do. And he said, I thought so too. He said, but really this was more my dad's idea. I wanted to work in music. And I was like, well, we can't help you there. We don't have a music track. But I was very proud of him for advocating for himself and standing up and saying, I want to do something different. We encourage our students, once they start the program to finish. But, we did have the one student that said, nope, I want to do something different. And he kind of figured it out midstream. And that's okay. But we want our students to want to be here. We've really tightened up on our application and interview process. We have an extensive application interview process, and I've tried to be more transparent with families and with students about what the program is, what the program isn't. And so with all of that, we really try to make sure that the students that we accept are the students that want to be here. So the very first step would be get with your student and ask your student what they want to do. This may not be something that they're thrilled about. And if not, then they don't need to come to this program. We need to have those conversations and include the student. It's very, very important, because if they get in this program and they're not really too keen on working with humans, then this is going to be a long year for them. And any job that they get, they're going to be miserable in, because it never was their idea to begin with. So first step, talk with your student. If the student says, I love helping people, I want to work in a field where I can help people, then this may be the program for them, because we're training our students to work with some of the world's most vulnerable populations, really small children, the elderly, and other people with disabilities. And so they have to have a heart for serving people. And we can usually tell in the interview process whether or not they're super excited about this program, and they're super excited to get to learn some skills to be able to help others and actually make a career out of it. We train students for a career, not just a job, and a career where they can experience growth and be happy in what they're doing. And so as long as the student is on board with it, then I would say the next step would be to keep a check on our website at paths.tamu.edu. And that when the application opens again, we will be posting that on our homepage of our website. And so students can click on the application. We encourage the student themselves to complete the application as much as they possibly can. They can receive help, but the words that they put on that application need to be theirs. We require them to submit an essay. That essay can be in any format they choose to give it to us. If writing is not their thing, they can do a video. And we've had some super cute videos, some super awesome stuff that students have turned in. They've really gotten really creative. So we love the videos. They can do an audio if they want to. They can do a traditional essay. They can create a PowerPoint. However they want to get that essay to us is fine, as long as they answer all of the questions that we have on that essay, and they can include anything else in that essay if they want to, if they're involved in activities, or if they want to include pictures. If they write a 50-page essay, we'll read it. So it's totally up to them, but it needs to be in the student's words, not the family writing it. It needs to be in the student's words, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking to get a good snapshot of the student. Plus, it gives us a good idea of their writing ability, or, you know, their speaking ability, and it kind of lets us know, if we accept that student, what extra support we're going to need to provide them while they're here in the program. So many families think that it has to be perfect so that their student can get in, and it absolutely does not. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for a good fit.
Okay. And then after they write that essay, they turn in the application, then you guys review that, and then do you start with like kind of that first sit down or phone interview or something that way?
We do. The application will open the end of October, and we'll post the link on our website. Click on the link, fill it out. Make sure you have all of the application materials in, that nothing is missing. There's an application checklist when you click on that link. Please make sure you go by that checklist and turn in absolutely everything. Once we get a completed application, we score it according to a rubric, and we are looking for a variety of things to see if the student would be a good fit for the program based on what they explain in their essay and their application are their goals for their future. And then once we score the application, then we'll choose the top scorers for an interview. And once we get the student in the interview, we interview the student and the family, and then we dismiss the family and just interview the student. And then once we grade that interview, then we choose who we feel like would be a good fit for the program for that particular cohort. And we typically don't go over 40. 40 is the maximum students. We want to make sure that our numbers are small enough that each student can receive individualized help if they want to. And so we want to make sure that all needs are met, so we won't go over 40. So if a student for some reason does not get in a particular cohort, we have had some try again. And what I suggest students do if for some reason they don't get chosen for a particular cohort is spend that next year, if you want to reapply for the following cohort, spend that year getting volunteer experience in the field that you want to be in. So if you want to be a paraprofessional, talk to your principal or your teachers about volunteering in the schools, helping to support teachers and students and see what it's like. If you want to go into childcare, go visit various childcare, daycare centers around your community and ask if you can come in and volunteer. And that volunteer experience is very valuable. It's valuable to us because it's valuable to the student because it lets them know, once they start working in that field and volunteering in that field, whether or not that's something that they actually want to do for a living. If they don't get that volunteer experience, they may say, oh, I think I would really love working with little children. And then they get in there and they're like, woo, this is not what I signed up for. I wasn't expecting to have to change diapers. So there may be some things about it that turn them off. And then again, there may be things about it they're like, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. So it really helps them to make up their mind whether or not that's something that they want to spend a year training in and then spend, a good portion of their life working in. And plus it beefs up their application. It helps us to know, hey, they got this volunteer experience in this field. They volunteered here for a year. They've got good references from their volunteer place. And obviously they're passionate about this. And this is something that they want to pursue enough to spend a year of their life in a program training for it. So it really helps us to know that, this for sure is what the student wants to do. Our graduation rates have really increased to 96% from 78% because we have started putting things in place like that to help make sure that this is the student's idea. They have experience in this field, so there's a good chance that once they get here that they're going to stay here and complete the program and then go to work.
And Tracy, I'm so thankful for your transparency and telling parents that, because I think as we chatted about before, myself being in the world, we're exploring all these different opportunities for our young adults as parents also helping. We need to know what a program really is and what it isn't. And it's not, and it's not the perfect fit for everybody, but knowing that ahead of time, it saves young adults as well as, their families precious time to figure out, hey, this might be the avenue to pursue a little bit more. But I think that is so important for them to have that passion, beforehand for wanting to do some of those human service jobs that are out there. So we're going to drop the link. We can drop that below in the comments as well, when people are looking for, the link that you were talking about for the website. Is there any other place that people can find information, get a packet of information sent to them? Would there just be like an inquiry that's right on the website?
Yes, they can email paz@tamu.edu, or they can email me directly at tglass@tamu.edu, and we can send them. I have an electronic brochure that I can send them. We also host a couple of open houses a year. We just had one. The next one will be in January.
Okay.
And so there, it's really kind of a one-stop shop. I do my presentation, but I also bring in a lot of our partners. I bring in off-campus housing. I bring in TWC counselors. We have our staff there. We have former students there. Ellie worked our last open house for us. She was sweet enough to do that. And we tell our students, please be honest with the people whenever they come and ask you questions. You don't have to fluff the program and make it sound like, it's just, it's wonderful. If it's hard, then please say, that it's hard, and let them know that, what the real experience is. And so if they're interested in coming to the open house, we'll also put that on our website, but they can definitely reach out to me and I can make sure that they get the information they need. It's super important for families to research all of the programs that are available because what we discourage families from doing is program hopping. What we call program hopping. And that is where families are like, oh, okay, I can send my student here for 4 years. Then they can jump over here and do the PASS program for a year. Then they can jump over here and do this for 3 years. By doing that, then the student never really becomes independent. They never go to work. They become a professional student. Right. And so the end goal of any program should be employment. And if it's not, then the PASS program probably isn't the right place for the student, because we are preparing that student for independence. We're preparing them for employment. And if that's not the goal, then there's other programs out there that are college experience programs that may be more appropriate. But if the end goal is employment, then they need to pick a program that they feel like best fits their employment and their educational goals and go with that program and then go to work. We've had people ask us, can I do the general program and then the para program, and can I do all three? And the answer is no. We have made exceptions for students to be able to come back and do an additional track only because, like Shelbi said, at first we only had the general program. And we didn't have the other two options. And so we've had students who have worked in the general environment, in a nursing home environment, and said, hey, I would really love to become a paraprofessional. Y'all didn't have that program back whenever I was in school. Is there a possibility that I could come back and do that? And of course, yes. And because they've already shown that, they've worked in the environment. But, just like anybody else, myself included, I'm a midlife career changer. This is not what I've done my whole life. And so I went back to school later to change tracks and to do something different. And our students, should have that same flexibility. But we do make exceptions in that case if students want to do all three. But when we have questions like, can they do all three? Can they just do them back to back to back? The answer is no. When we graduate them, we expect that they're going to go to work.
Okay. And is there any inside of Texas or outside of Texas, like great resources when parents or young adults are trying to research things for themselves about places that offer programs and things like that? Is there any one directed site that you would say that would be any great site to look at?
Sure. We're on a site called Think College.
Okay.
And that's a wonderful site. They have several programs listed on that site for students who are interested in going to college. And ours is just one of them. So that would be a really great place to start, would be with Think College. And I'm sure there are other websites, but that's the one that comes to my mind right now that's super awesome. And where they can get a lot of information about a lot of different programs. And then, I would suggest contacting those programs, going and visiting those programs, and getting, doing your research ahead of time to make sure that the program that you pick is a good fit. TWC will generally not pay for more than one program. When they commit to you for a program, they expect that you're going to complete that program and then go to work. And so be very, very careful. And I try to tell families this, please be very careful about the choice that you make, and make sure that you choose, the one that's the best fit the first time because of that.
Right, that you've done your homework on that.
Right.
Well, we will drop all those links below. Ellie, before we go, and Shelbi, I wanted to find out from you guys if there is anything else that you guys would like to share with our audience today, whether it's an awesome memory, another awesome experience, or number one reason why you would tell any young adult students that are listening today why they should choose a program like this.
I feel like joining the PATS program, it really opened my mind in like understanding people when they're struggling. It kind of opened my mind to see their point of view. Mm-hmm. And I also encourage people to talk to people when you're struggling, because it's not always good to keep things locked up inside of you, and it's okay to ask for help when you're struggling, and it's okay to be knocked down a little bit, because that helps you grow stronger.
I love that. And so true, and so true. And a program like this, you were able to ask for that supportive help that you needed.
Right.
I love that. And Shelbi.
Yes, ma'am. The number one thing I would say is get out there. Just see what opportunities are available. Like I said in the beginning, I grew up in a small town, and I never knew 45 minutes away there were like things to do. And so the PASS program really opened my eyes to becoming more independent. My sisters moved out of the house when I was 7, so I was like an only child. So I never really got that independency. Yes, I miss my family, but I was so glad to learn how to be independent and to do things on my own. And PAS also gave us resources to look at different stuff. So I just thank the PAS program that got me here today. I wouldn't be here without them. And that's what I would tell other students is you have a voice. Use your voice and speak up, and just get out and look and see everything.
Mm-hmm. Get out and use your voice. That's what I tell everyone. We need to use our voices. Yes. I love it. Well, the two of you ladies, I think after you guys land your careers and the jobs that you guys are looking for, you two need to come back on the show together.
That's
and we need to talk about those awesome adventures you're going on with your new careers. But I thank all three of you for spending this last 45 minutes with us here at the On Air Advocate this morning and sharing about the PAS program. I can't wait for others to get this information. As Tracy said, obviously, if there's more detailed questions that you want to know, you can email her directly, and ask those questions and get packets of information and whatnot. But to keep using your voice and exploring your options, because your options are limitless. So with that, we'll drop all the links below. I thank you ladies again for being on this morning. If you guys want to know more about the On Air Advocate, you can head on over to onairadvocate.com. If you want to become part of our private community over here at the On Air Advocate, you can head up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you into our private Facebook group. So on that note, thank you ladies very, very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye guys. Talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye ladies.